Hello, hello, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Angela and today we've got a little bit of a Fallout build. So with this one, the last month or so has been a little bit crazy for me, so I wanted to do something small. And I told myself, I'm going to do something small, I'm not going to do a full settlement. And as I was walking through my settlements, because I don't usually use any of like the workbench anywhere, that kind of thing, I found this little spot at Greygarden right next to the, or right below the overpass here. And I thought this would be kind of a fun little place to try to build in. This little, like a little challenge, this little, it's almost like being stuck between a rock and a hard place, I suppose. But anyway, so I decided that I would try to build here. And you guys know how I feel about the boxcars, specifically the boxcar doors. But I decided that it was going to be, I was going to attempt to try and do like a tiny home kind of style thing. And the boxcars were really the only thing that would fit. I did attempt to try like wood and foundations and all that stuff, but this just looked the most natural. The foundations and all that did not look right for some reason. They're just a little bit too boxy and too square. I say that as I'm positioning like a giant rectangle boxcar, but you kind of know what I mean, I guess. So the main challenge of trying to build here, I had a lot of fun with this. It was very chill because it wasn't like an entire build, and I could just kind of focus on this mini area kind of thing, which is strange for me because most of the time I say I'm going to do something small and then everything just gets completely out of control. But anyway, the most challenging part of working in this area is definitely the limited space that I had to try and like maneuver my place anywhere tool. So on the left side of the screen there, on the left side of that boxcar that I just placed down, that is the build limit. So it kind of it was very challenging trying to build on that side. And you'll see later on in the tour at the end of the video, there's not a lot on that side anyway. I did a lot more landscaping, things like that on the side where there's a lot more room towards the train tracks. So, I mean, that's a personal choice. I definitely could have done more over there, but I kind of felt like it was overkill at that point. And by the end, I just kind of felt like, this is good, I'm done. So, I hope you guys enjoy it as you watch me build. So this isn't going to be a full let's build video. I wanted to kind of show you the foundation that I laid down with these boxcars and the different things that I did to kind of make it feel like it wasn't just a train car stuck there, you know. Things like patching up boards, or patching things up using boards, excuse me. Things like putting in different paths, things like that. Those really made the place feel like it wasn't just a boxcar stuck in between a rock and a hard place. So we have our main area over on over in between those two walls, I suppose I should say. I guess I could say. I don't know. I'm not sure what to call them. It's kind of like a little canyon. But anyway, so I wanted to break up the shape, so I decided to put this one kind of sideways here. And I think it worked out really well. It definitely gives some visual interest to this side of the little house, and it gives you sort of an entrance point, like a focal point kind of thing. So I think it worked out well. And then of course, as I stuck this in here, I have this giant rock sticking through the side of my train car. And you'll see me kind of think through, like, what am I going to do with this rock? Like, I don't even know what to do with this rock. Like, can I get rid of it? So I try to pick it up thinking, oh, maybe I'll get rid of it. And there's just dirt underneath, and it looks really weird because that entire piece is just, like, that entire rock face is all one piece. So ultimately, I decided to leave it and work around it. I did end up putting shelving and things in there later on. So I've skipped forward a little bit in time. I've put in some decks, and this one over well, I've passed it already, but the one just across from that main back deck actually becomes walled off. I don't show you that part because I forgot to record it. After a certain point, I kind of got a little bit, not really overwhelmed, just sort of, there was a lot of footage. Like, there was a lot of stuff I ended up doing to this. So I say this is a small build, but it really wasn't all that small. I spent a good amount of time on it, and you'll see from the detail decorating that I did, that is definitely not a fib. So here, if you guys have seen my coastal cottage barn build, you'll see, or you'll know how much I like to position the pillars and mess around with the pillars a little bit. So I did end up doing some editing magic, and I fixed some of that for you, so you didn't have to watch me, you know, move things a tiny bit at a time and just inch it into place. So, but I do put a couple pillars in here, and this becomes sort of a back porch. So each area I wanted to kind of give a purpose to, because it's such a small space. I felt like each area needed something that was sort of the focal point of it, which is kind of the thing with like tiny houses. I don't know how many of you out there actually watch any sort of, HGTV shows, any sort of building shows, anything like that. But I am a fan of the tiny house ones. I'm a sucker for it. I fully admit it. And so I kind of was thinking with that mindset of, each area has a purpose, each area is there for a reason, that kind of thing. In addition to trying to make it look kind of cute, I suppose. Originally, I thought about trying to make this place as like a scaver kind of place, or maybe a place for someone who was like a hunter or was a sniper kind of person, but it turned out too cute. It really did, for like a grizzled old man like that guy in Salem. I don't know if he would live here or not. So we've gotten our roof onto our back porch, and all that work I did for the pillars is all for naught. I only end up keeping the one pillar over here on the right, and the one on the left that I thankfully cut out some footage for you guys, I end up getting rid of so I can put a wall in here, because I thought a screened-in porch would be kind of cool with this entire thing. So I end up screening this porch in, and then the one straight across from this porch on the other side of the train car, that also gets walled in as well. I was a little porch happy at first when I was originally kind of working through my ideas, and so I decided to kind of close off this back area and make it more secure. Mostly because there's not very much on this side in terms of security, so I thought that might be a little bit of like a security risk to have too many open areas. Plus I needed a bathroom, so that entire, well, not the entire porch, the little porch becomes the bathroom, which I think is like the coolest bathroom I've made so far. So far I'm like experimenting with fireplaces and bathrooms. I don't know. I have no reason for it. No excuse. So put in some decent stairs, got rid of some bushes underneath, and did some landscaping. And we're going to deal with this rock face here because I decided to keep it ultimately. It just looked really, really cool sticking through there like that. So I am currently kind of digging through some of the pieces, thinking maybe I could just seal it off with like something that matches that, metal color, the blue train car. But ultimately I decided to patch it up with some wood because I feel like that's the way that it would be patched up naturally. I don't think that the train car would, be able to glitch through the rock like that in real life. So I grabbed some of these boards that just look like a normal patch job, and we're going to put them right in there and kind of, well, if it'll actually go. There we go. So we're going to put those in there and kind of make a sort of window out of it. I was thinking a little bit about these train cars and how hot they would get, so I did kind of want to have some openings in areas where things could, airflow could get through. So there's that side, and then we're going to use some individual boards and way in the back of my miscellaneous wood tab, past everything. that I've added from other mods. We're going to use some of those single boards from CVA to patch up the rest of it. And then you guys do not see this part, but when I was decorating, I did go ahead and add in some shelving. So that area becomes a giant place for storage, which is essential in a tiny house because there's really not very much room. So we're going to go ahead and patch this side up and just make sure that it's all connected. And then I think my thought process for this was like, okay, this is patched up, but what if it rains? What if water gets in here? And I needed something to put on this side to use for power because it did look a little bit lopsided, and I needed some power for lighting. So that is the next thing that I'm going to do after that. But at the moment, I'm kind of digging through my stuff, trying to look for something to cover that up with. And if anybody knows how to place these cloth awnings, that would be great if you would let me know, because I have not been able to figure out how these things are placed. Like, I seriously, you can see in the video, I'm just like, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know where to place it. It's not placing anywhere, so I just abandoned that idea. It was a little big anyway, and this red tarp matched the red tarp I already had out there a little bit too much. See, I'm trying to go back to the idea and it's just not working out for me. So I decided to use one of these Raider tent things, and the flat one looks appealing at first, but ultimately I'm going to go with the 45-degree angle one, because then the rain will just drip off of it. At least in my mind, that's the way that I think it will work. I don't know, there's an awful lot of holes in that. So anyway, we're going to attach this here, and this is going to be our little kind of an outdoor shed area, just sort of an attached shed, and it's going to hold our power stuff. So I put that on there, and I thought, well, I need something to hold this up, so I wanted to get creative and use something that I hadn't used yet, because I do use a lot of pillars and wood pieces and stuff, so I thought maybe a barrel, like a rain barrel kind of thing. I know that's not a rain barrel, that's, you know, a toxic waste barrel, but I thought that might actually be kind of interesting and give it a little bit of color. I say give it a little color like there's not already a crap load of color here, but give it a little bit of a different color. Maybe I should say that. There are, you know, the red barrels and the brown barrels and all that, so I liked the toxic waste barrel. You know, maybe there's not toxic waste in it. I don't know. So I move this down here and actually make that kind of the support pillar there. And then we're going to put in our little generator. So most of the time I don't use generators from the vanilla game because they're very loud and obnoxious and they get smoke everywhere, but I thought this one was really cute, and this just sort of seemed like something that someone living in this little house would have, so I decided to put it in there and kind of glitch it into place there. And ultimately in the tour at the end you'll find out why I don't normally use the small generators or the normal size generators. I ended up switching it out with like one of the power radiating light switch things, so it's kind of like a fuse box sort of thing. So I ended up doing that instead. But it was, you know, a good idea while it lasted. I think if I'd had a mod that was, you know, something like the quieter generators or something, maybe it would have, I don't know, maybe it would have worked out. So we're going to glitch this little fence into place just to sort of hide that and make it look a little bit more uniform, I suppose. A little bit less janky, I guess. I'm not sure why I'm concerned with like scrappy jankiness, because, you know, that entire piece is boarded up with like chicken wire and all that, but I wanted to have a little fence or something so then, you know, animals can't just get into it or people can't just see it and get right into it. And plus, I ended up using that area as like a trash area, so it's kind of like a little place for whoever lives here to put their trash, you know, to, I guess, dispose of however they want to dispose of it. I don't know how you get rid of trash in the wasteland. You know, you just throw it in the river, I guess. Old school littering style. Whatever. Anyway, so we're going to finish putting the rest of these fences in and make it look nice and pretty. And we're going to move on from there. We're almost done with the sort of mini Let's build, and I know it's not exactly like the kind of Let's Builds that I normally do, because most of the time I try to show you the entirety of my thought process, but gosh, I had just so much footage that it was boring me even just to watch it, and I can't imagine having you guys watch it and being bored out of your minds. So, you know, if I don't want to watch it, then I'm not going to make you guys sit through it and watch it. So we're going to finish putting this fence in here, and I'm trying to get the fence so it's not like glitched right into the rock. You can see that piece right there on the left glitching out of the rock. The reason I keep moving the fence around is because I'm like, that looks wrong. I don't like that. It looks really bad. So there we go, kind of glitching it into the rock there so it doesn't look quite so weird. And that's the end of our fence. So the last thing that I'm going to show you guys here, and this is really important for anybody using these train cars, definitely make sure you patch up your holes. So I did not realize there was going to be a giant gaping hole right here, and so these planks do a really, really good job of patching up the hole. So we're just going to put a few of these right in here, and then we're going to be ready for the walk around. I think that these planks are some of my favorite things in the entire game. Like, you can see I used a little bit there for a walkway. They're just so versatile, you know? I've used them to patch up holes, I've used them to make them look like supports. Really just a little bit of everything. I used a lot of them in my coastal cottage build to just essentially build walls that I couldn't build with the normal wall pieces. Like angled walls, things like that, like under the stairs, and they work out great. The only thing that sucks is they're like way at the end of my of my miscellaneous wood tab, so I have to scroll through everything to get to them. But, you know, they're worth it, I think. There we go. All right, are you guys ready for the tour? I'm ready to show you what this place turned into, because the bare shell does not do it justice. You're just looking around. Here we go, tour time. So I did a lot of landscaping on the front here. I added a tree. I added lots and lots of flowers and this little space underneath this decking. These are some what are they called? Pallets. These are some pallets sunk into the ground with some hub flower and a little kind of gutting station down there for anything that, you know, may have been killed and needs to be gutted and cleaned. There's some fungus down there, just in case you're into making the chems. And I really like these little stairs because they kind of make a cool walkway that goes up and around these rocks and leads into this path that we had the entire time. So there's also a little lantern there to light your way at night. There will be a little night tour after this one as well, kind of on our way back. But here is what this little shed storage area turned into. So it's a little bit different than the main idea that I had, but you know, I kept the barrel, so the barrel and the box. But I did add this area up here. So this is kind of a skywalk kind of upper area here because there are turrets, so you're going to need to get up here to fix them or do repairs or just to see who is down on the road below. So I thought that would be a nice touch, and it's, you know, it was easy enough to put a little walkway up here. So we're going to go look over on this side. There's amazing views from in here, and this area feels really, really secure in comparison to being out just kind of in the open, making, you know, a little house in a grassy area. So I really liked how this turned out. I'm glad that I took on the personal challenge to build here. So we're going to go back down here and we're going to go take a look inside. These string lights that I put up too were kind of a pain in the butt, but so worth it. Definitely worth it. CBA is like a lifesaver mod, seriously. So we're going to go over our little planks here and we're going to get up onto our deck. So this is kind of a carryover from that original idea that I had. The scabber that, you know, has lots of weapons, that maybe likes to take pot shots at people on the road as they pass by if they're raiders. But there's a little garden thing there with some potted plants. And inside you can see how I decorated these shelves. So this is really just a catch-all for junk and things like that, but it turned into a useful part of the kitchen area. So the kitchen's very small, but it's cozy, and I really like the way that it turned out. There's enough room for a couple people to sit and eat, and lots of room for food storage, some dishes, there's some fresh mute fruit and corn from up above, and it leads directly into this sort of bedroom area. So there's a bed over there on the right, of course, you can see that, but there's also shelving for clothing and anything like that on the left. Then, of course, there's weapon storage, and you've got to have your alcohol if you live out in the wasteland. So, you know, we've got a mini bar there. And this part is actually my favorite. So there's this little office thing here, but on the right, there is this bathroom, and those blinds are like the most lore-breaking thing in this entire building, but I love them. I've always wanted to find a way to use them in a build, and I've never been able to because I normally just kind of stick with the things that are very unclean. I'll stick with curtains, things like that. And those, whatever they're called, the blinds, just, they're very, very clean. But I broke my own personal lore for them because that back wall was a window, and so I thought it was a little weird sitting up on a cliff and people can see you go to the bathroom. So anyway, enough about the blinds. This area is the porch area. Put a little mini candle fireplace in there, and we've got our little tools, toolbox, and a little workstation for armor and any sort of robotics, things like that. But you can see the back part here, the little screened-in porch. I think it turned out really, really good. So you're protected from both sides. Also, there's a little tiny bit of landscaping. I put some plants in here, and we're gonna go around the side and kind of see the back part of this kind of off-hanging bathroom. So you can see there's a window there that's an entire wall, and I don't even care what you guys say. I love the blinds. So let's go into our night tour. Nice transition there. Pat myself on the back. The lighting really makes it at night. I tried to make this place feel cozy and warm, and the lighting definitely assists that. So there's lots of candles, lots of lanterns, but there's also some of the softer lighting, like the ceiling fan is a softer lighting bit there. There's some of those just sort of standing lamps, and yeah, that's really it. I did manage to use a light that I hardly ever use, one of those, like the sort of curved light. You'll see it in a little bit when we walk by it. But I managed to use that one. I hardly ever get a chance to use that one because I don't know what to use it for. You'll see it right there, that one. I never use that one, but I'm glad that I did. And of course some lighted posters because, you know, why not? So this is the entirety of the tiny house. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to put together, and I had a lot of fun being able to detail decorate it without worrying about my frame rate because I wasn't doing an entire settlement. And so detail decorating is so annoying to me, but I really do enjoy it. It makes a place feel lived in and cozy. So we're gonna get a nice view out here. And I have to admit, I didn't decorate this shelf. This came from a mod. But you wouldn't have known that, right? Right? No? Okay. So here's our lantern there, lighting our path. And I'm going to show you down below here. It did get to be a little bit lighter. I filmed that super late at night, but I wanted to show you guys the cool kind of like light bleed through underneath the deck here. I didn't put any lights down here because I figured no one's going to be working down here at night, but I thought this looked really cool. Did not even plan it at all. Those fire barrels are like works of art, seriously. So that is the entirety of the tour. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'm sorry that I've been gone for so long, but I am working on new things, so stay tuned. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and feel free to comment. I love reading your comments and replying to them. And as always, if you'd like to see more, stick around, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video.